CollectAWrestlePalooza, CollectAWrestlePalooza.
How's it going, collectors? This is Tom. Today I'm presenting the top 5 prices paid for horror VHS tapes. So you think there's not a market for VHS? This video challenges that and might change your mind. Be sure to stay tuned for the whole thing to see some wild sales on some truly rare videos. I'm only including eBay auctions. If you watch my channel, you know the drill. Auctions are more indicative of the real market, and it's easier to tell what the buyer actually paid. Coming in at number 5 is Child's Play. You know, the OG Chucky movie. This franchise has so many sequels and reboots, but the original Child's Play came out in November of 1988, just in time for Christmas, and featured a large and creepy doll possessed by a murderer. I always thought it was funny the way the murderer became the doll was none other than voodoo spells. It's almost like the writers pulled that idea out of a hat, you know. How can a murderer possess a doll? I don't know, how about voodoo? Yeah, I guess that works. And the result is a classic. Creepy dolls are nothing new in horror, but no other movie used the doll as a central, iconic horror character the way Child's Play did with Chucky. This particular copy is listed as a sealed first edition. It's graded by IGS with a dual 9 grade, which means both the box and the seal are in mint condition, and it sold for $1,100. I did look at the box, and the latest copyright listed on it was 1989, so I'm imagining that's the year that this came out in stores at a suggested retail price of $19.98. I also think it's funny that the VHS advertised a 3-star review front and center. I guess that's the best it got. It couldn't get 4 stars, but that 3-star review did come from none other than Roger Ebert. Coming in at number 4 is the Soul Tangler, which sold in raw condition for an amazing price of $3,050. The seller did mention the tape is tested and works, but in subsequent pictures on the listing, you can see it's an X-rental, a raw X-rental tape selling for more than $3,000. It must be a special tape. I have no idea why. The listing had multiple bidders with lots of positive feedback, so to me it looks legit. If viewers know the history of this gnarly tape, please leave some comments. I'm interested to learn more. I can say it does look cool. The cover art is epic. It just has this aura about it. And that's why I love VHS. They feel like the 80s. They feel like video rental stores. As a kid going through the horror section, seeing these fantastic stories, feels taboo. It feels exciting. Tape saying, I dare you to watch me. I dare you to watch me. And I'm guessing the Soul Tangler sold for this price because it's rare and has a cult status. Came out in 1987. IMDb lists the budget as only $8,000. But this VHS was released in 1992 by Astro Videos. Subsequently, it's been released on DVD, but I'm guessing this VHS is an early release. The plot of the movie is similar to another cult classic, The Reanimator. A doctor finds a drug that can reanimate corpses, but in this case, the drug allows the user to transport their soul to any other body, including the body of a corpse, with other side effects like hallucinations. I did look it up online, and this movie appears to be a gore fest. Coming in at number 3 is none other than my favorite horror movie of all time, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, this copy is not graded, but it is sealed and appears to be a very early copy or even a first release. It was distributed by Media. It's got watermarks on the back. The box is dated 1985, the year after the movie's theatrical release. Another interesting part of this copy is it does have dual flaps, which means it has a flap on the top and on the bottom, which was much more common for VHS released in the 80s. In the 90s, they moved more towards a slip cover type case. If viewers know more about the various edition and releases of Nightmare on Elm Street, please leave some comments. I'm by no means an expert and definitely interested in knowing more. On the front of this box, we see original price of $19.95. I guess that's a pretty good investment. And everyone knows the story of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Vigilante neighbors burn a terrible man by the name of Freddy Krueger, who comes back to seek revenge on their children by killing them in their dreams. What an amazing plot for a horror movie, and it's a great movie. It's a genre-defining classic. Fun fact, New Line Media is known as the house that Freddy built. Without this movie's enormous success, the company likely would have folded. Coming in at number 2 is the original Halloween. This is one of my first slasher movies of the 1980s, and it was actually released theatrically in 1978, directed by the great John Carpenter on October 25th, just in time for Halloween. And I can only imagine seeing this movie in its first year on Halloween. What an event that would have been in the theaters. The first press of the VHS came out in 1981, 3 years later. The seller states that this is one of the first copies of that VHS. It's got the white media watermarks, and look at this tape. It looks immaculate. It's graded by Rewind and scored a 9.4, I'm guessing out of a scale of 10, which seems like an absurdly high grade for a tape that is more than 40 years old, and it sold for $4,200. Halloween featured Michael Myers, the knife-wielding maniac who famously never spoke. He just stood there gazing from the shadows, which is what makes him so creepy. And people still watch it on Halloween. It's become a cultural franchise, spawning multiple sequels and remakes that are still coming out to this day. And coming in at number 1 is the OG horror movie many buffs call their favorite, The Evil Dead. It's graded by IGS and got an amazing 9 for the box and 8.5 for the seal. This tape came out in 1982 and is not only a first press of this movie, but an early VHS tape, period. Hence the price of $4,801. I mean, the copyright on the back of this tape is in Roman numerals. The Evil Dead is such a cult following because it is written and directed by the great Sam Raimi. This was his directorial debut. This is the same guy who directed Spider-Man in 2002. And not only that, The Evil Dead is a great film. It's gritty, it's early 80s, it's got this amazing aura about it. The makeup and the feeling of the movie is really unique for its time, and it just hits different. If you've never seen The Evil Dead, do yourself a favor and watch this movie. And that does it for this week. Thank you so much for the support. Keep the hobby healthy, keep collecting, respect, peace.